Good evening. Good evening. Mic test. Mic test. Ayun, pwede na daw. Good evening. Today is Friday focus since we're trying to make ourselves better and not use curse words. We will no longer be using Friday effort. We will use Friday focus. Let's see if how long we can succeed in keeping ourselves in uh, a forthright manner. And again, good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, tuning in. And again, today is Friday, November 12th. It's 7 p.m., 7 17 in the evening, Philippine time. And this will be brief. Sadly, I wasn't able to complete the review for uh, Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. We were supposed to do a book review as requested yesterday, but sadly, I did not have enough time. We went out and tried to get the bikes fixed, but sadly, it may take 3 days, I think. Um, More or less, they'll have to break the whole bike apart. And it took us a few hours to finally find that out, but we'll go from there. We will do our best to get back on the road. So, without further blah, 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 let's go on. Today is Friday Focus. What can we focus on today? For the title I chose, we have Leo Tolstoy, one of the probably the world's greatest authors. And I can't remember where exactly he can't remember exactly where he took they took that quote. The one that I used, I can't remember exactly where that was taken. But for the quote itself, everyone, of course, everyone has his own point of view, everyone has his own perspective, and there are a lot of things that we notice that we want to change. We have a lot of complaints. We have a lot of what's this ideas in our head that we would like everyone to conform to, everyone to ascribe to, and everyone wants to, like the song goes, everyone wants to rule the world, but no one, as Mr. Tolstoy said, nobody wants to start by changing himself. And it's a lot of work. Just like this experiment. It's not going to be easy, but I will try since there has been a few requests that I shouldn't be cursing. I shouldn't be using profane words. I will try to limit, if not, stop myself from using them since there are children watching at times and there are families, of course, watching as well. And we'll try to keep it clean as best as we can. We'll try to minimize, if not eliminate, curse words as best as we can. So we'll try to embody what we preach. We'll try to embody what we say, and we'll start with that. I'll start with cursing. It has been a part of my character. It has been a part of my language and vocabulary for I don't know most of my life. Maybe I've absorbed it through experiences, people I've come across with, and my father has this expression he picked up. He has a different perspective on that, but I won't ascribe to it since, of course, again, we will not try to justify the wrong. We'll do as best as we can, and hopefully we can succeed. We'll see. We'll try to find out. So again, like I said, this will be very brief. I won't waste too much of your time. I'll just take a few things for, of course, Friday. Let's make the most out of this. For Fridays, I think I'll do Friday focus, and then I was thinking of doing Friday faculties, like faculties of the mind, things that we have use, or things that we have in our heads that most of the time we forget that we have. There are certain things that we can take advantage of, but we don't most of the time. So let's try and see if I have like something we can use for that. Let's try six things. Not really sure if anyone would agree with it or everybody would agree with it, but it at least something that we can start with. For at least you have an idea that you have six primary faculties, uh, six things that you can take advantage of in order to make a few changes. Some things that you should always be aware of. This is nothing new, like I always say. Everything is out there. You just have to dig deeper, or at least scratch the surface of things. One of the most important faculties that we have, for me, would be reason. Um, uh, I think as long as you're alive, if you're cognizant, if you don't have any brain impediment, you'd have a way to think about things, your desires, and you're able to separate your instincts, your base instincts, between these things. So most of the time, we act out of either our base instinct, or a primal need, or a basic need like food, hunger, love. So these are different types of motivations, but we do things out of reason. And if we base it on like the basic definition for the word reason, it is to form conclusion, judgments, or inferences from facts or premises, like how you analyze the situation. You'd have to have a particular rationale for a situation, a person, an act, a word, or anything. So that's why I always tell people, please educate yourself. Please do as best as you can to expand your knowledge, to expand your vocabulary, expand your experiences. There are certain experiences that you can take out of other people's experiences, just like what I do here. As best as I can, I try to get people who have unique perspectives or unique experiences, so that they can share their knowledge, they can share their experience. And if they have sadly gone through some very, um, how do you say that? They have gone through a bad experience. I think there's just no other way I can think of, or other word I can think of for it for now. So if they went through a dark experience there, I think that'll be better. If we get to speak to people who have gone through dark experiences, and I hope we can learn from that instead of doing these things as well. Might as well just skip them, take the lesson that they can give to us, the information that they can give to us, and infer your reasoning based on that. I don't think uh, it's necessary for us to pay the heaviest price for experience. We are able to infer, or we can rationale, we can reason with another person's experience. So that's one. And again, the reason is one of our main faculties. choosing or selecting certain facts or premises and using them to establish a conclusion, judgment, or inference. A person will choose which they have formulated and which reside in their objectives or conscious mind and information conveyed to the objective of the conscious mind via physical senses. All right, we'll move on to the next one, memory. Most of our reasoning, again, comes from our knowledge and, of course, our memory. So these are all interconnected, these are all linked to each other. And as I mentioned, memory. This is a really, how do you say that? Not too complicated, but a complicated subject. But we'll just take this off of this point of view, my point of view about memory. Memory is not necessarily photographic. It's mostly a full embodiment of experience. If you can recall a particular memory, as they say, a picture in the mind, most of the time, these are just recollections of smell, sight, sound, taste, if some. There's also that feeling, that energy, as they say. So when you come across a person, you don't necessarily just remember him out of like just that image. That's why we have a hard time remembering names, because names don't stick too much. Some people have a visual memory, which they can remember images better, faces, since we have a cognitive process where we are looking for a particular shape. We'll dig deeper into this as we go along. This is just, like I said, a brief gloss over of our faculties. So, memory. Some people say they have a bad memory. This is not necessarily true. We can memorize anything we want. Again, it just takes that amount of effort, practice, and it just takes a lot of exercise, because the brain is, again, a muscle. So we have to exercise it, we have to practice it. And I have seen people who said that they can't remember anything, or they can't memorize anything. Once they were able to learn tricks for memorization, or if they were have started to expound their knowledge, like mnemonics, associating images with words or things like that, or if they can expound their comprehension. Once you start understanding things, it's not necessary to memorize. It's a lot better if you can comprehend. Once you understand something you've read, you can put it in your own words. And that would be a far better way of remembering things, understanding them. Similarly, like people, when you start to understand people, let's say if you have a fair concept of your identity, you'll be able to pick up some nuances of people, like how they relate, how they talk. You can start to piece these things together. That's why I always tell you, or always tell anyone I come across with, please expand your knowledge, especially about human psychology. If you can, there's a lot of books, there's YouTube videos, there's hours and hours upon thousands of hours on YouTube about personality types, things like these. If you can, please go to the website of 16 personalities or 16 identities. I'll try to add the link here if I still have it. If you can check it out, take the short questionnaire. It will tell you, based out of, what's the name? Myers-Briggs identity or personality map. They'll give you that information. At least you have a working idea of your strength, your weaknesses, how you can improve yourself, your interpersonal skills. You can improve on that with that knowledge in hand. And you can also learn from their website about different types of personalities, how you can at least interact with them. So again, that's part of memory. If we define the word memory, it's the mental capacity or faculty of retaining and retrieving facts, events, impressions, etc., or recalling or recognizing previous experiences, which again helps us in our reasoning. And the facts, events, and impressions, most often than not, are based out of your understanding. So, good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, ma'am, Cassie. Thank you again for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm really sorry, sir. I can't understand or I can't read the characters of your name. Kuroro, sir. Good evening. Good evening. So, the next one in the six faculties, we have perception. No two people have the same perception because we have different sets of experiences, memories, or philosophies, or personal understanding. So these are again part of what builds our perception. And I think this will be a very, very long conversation if we go into the rabbit hole of perception. But don't worry, it's already on the notebook. It's all there. We'll get to it slowly. I'm just building up the proper momentum. So ah, Noble Guy. I see, I see. Good evening, Sir Noble Guy. Nagpalit ka pala ng name. So there. Um, So one definition of perception would be the act or process of apprehending by means of senses or of the mind. I think this is a lot more complicated. Perception, I think, would be how we interpret the things that we see, the things that we read, based on the filters that we have created for ourselves through our experience. These are usually depending on the ideas that we have come across with and picked up, the concepts of understanding that we have, the type of education that we have, or the type of environment that we have that put us together. We are a base set of our memories. We are a base set of our experiences. We are a product of our experience. So most of the time, we can start with a naive state of mind where we still have no real world experience. Most of the time, this is just based out of the stories we have with our family or our immediate circle, and our perception would still be limited. But once you broaden your mind with experience, with books, would be a perfect place to pick up education other than, the real world. There are a lot of things that we just have to cross reference and widen our perception. And most of the time, perception can lead to misunderstanding because, like I said in the beginning, no two-person have the same perspective. No two persons can see the exact same thing even if they're looking at it, because their position would be different, the angle, the light would come different, their eyes. These are the physical aspects of perception, but the most profound part of perception would be the interpretative part of perception. So these would be this would be the this would be my take on perception. Like I said, we won't dwell too long on these. This will be just a brief gloss over. I would strongly suggest if you can try to go back and take note of these. Again, we started with reasoning, memory, and then we have perception. Now, will. if we base it on the in dictionary meaning, give me a moment. The will. Mm, there you go. Google said will is expressing the future tense or inevitable events. But there is another blah 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 blah. Um, uh, the ability, expressing facts about ability or capacity, expressing habitual behavior, indicating annoyance about no, this is not what we want. Expressing the probability of expectation about something in the present. I think it's not. Blah, blah, there you go. A faculty by which a person decides on and initiates action. It's more closer to determination. It's deliberate, controlled, deliberate. Um, it's a word to describe deliberate action, the thing that one desires or ordains. Um, there's also make or try, do something, intent, desire, or wish. Yeah, this is what we're looking for. There you go. So when we say will, it's our ability to focus on a particular idea, a goal, and this is the inexhaustible well of motivation. If you can will it, I think will in my own terms, if I try to define it in my own terms, will is a place where you go to where there is nothing impossible as long as you can keep holding on to that particular idea, let's say an objective or a dream that you have. If you have an objective, a goal, and if you will it to reality, that's where it will come from. If you don't let go of that, if you will it to happen, some people we'll talk about this in a lot more deeper sense. I'll try to see if I can talk to a few people that gone through military training. If we can invite a few people, they can explain this a lot better. They will have a different set of definitions for this. The research on that has been ongoing. Don't worry. I wanted to discuss that. This is part of our the Red Queen paradox. It's still, don't worry, I'm still working on that. It's just taking a lot of segues. So going back to this, will is the well where you take your your um your motivation. This is where you take everything that's not real, your dreams, um your uh what's this, your dreams, your aspirations. This is where it comes from, your will, how much you can give to get what you want. I think this is, for me, the only weapon you have for suffering. It's the will, it's the willpower to keep yourself going when everyone has already given up. This is the place where you go to find that one last step when you can't walk anymore. This is the place you go to when you're physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically exhausted, but you need to keep going. This is the place where you get it from, the will. And then intuition. Intuition is the realization and the recognition of some condition or occurrence where said realization and recognition transpires with seemingly little or no involvement to the individual's physical senses. Intuition is more of a gut feeling or a recognition of certain patterns, situations, or certain energies, maybe. I think that would be the best way we can give that. That thumbnail hits hard. Shout out to social justice warriors who think it's all right to impose their ideologies to others. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll talk about that. Hopefully, maybe Sunday. I'll try to, if you can come up on Saturday, Sir Diego, we'll talk about it. Let's play with that. I've been itching to pick that apart. So intuition is more of the gut feeling. I think this is your internal voice telling you that we've been there. This is not going to work well, especially if it's a situation of danger. Also, your intuition can tell you something about people. There are certain people that pretend, or there are certain people that say one thing and does the other. So basically liars, more or less. So I think there is an internal mechanism that helps us look into that or tap into that. We get to feel that from people. And most of the time, go with your gut feeling. Most of the time, it's never wrong. Most of the time. Good evening, Tomato Can. um, uh, there you go. Who else? There. Yeah. So again, intuition. There you go, and imagination. Imagination is probably one of the greatest faculties that we have. It's almost similar to will. If you can imagine it, you can will it to happen. And your imagination is only limited to up to what you can think of. Some people imagine visually. I think some people also imagine very immersively. There are people who can put themselves into a different place, like mentally. They can go to like a mind palace. They have scents. They have feelings like cold, dark, and imagination is one of the best ways for us to develop our creativity, not necessarily only through the arts, but music, also words. Imagination can also bring about probably a mental image of the future. I think the future basically comes from imagination. If you can think about it, if you can have the will to do it, it can be real. So imagination to me is a window to the future. Also, imagination is the unending well of reality. This is where dreams come to reality. Your imagination. I just hope you don't get to be corrupted by other people's imaginations or other people's perspectives. That's why you have to have a full toolbox, as they say. You have to have a full, well-rounded, um, a well-rounded armory for your mental faculties. Uh, but I think that's where we can that's where we can end this. That's as much as I have for you today. Like I said, this will be very brief. That again is the six faculties, the six higher faculties of the human mind. And I hope that you are able to at least pick that apart, at least something to think about this Friday. It's a weekend. If you're not working, please have some fun, relax, decompress. I still have work in a few hours. So see you tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll be able to invite someone to talk to us and share their experience with us tomorrow. If not, we'll just talk about something else, or we'll do the Heart of Darkness. Hopefully, I've gotten it done by tomorrow. I'll do two broadcasts again tomorrow. Hopefully, one in the morning or in the afternoon, and then one in the evening if we have a guest. So if Sir Diego can can help us, then I think that'll be great. And then what else? I don't think there's anything else. I think that's it. Thank you very much again, ladies and gentlemen, for spending your time for 30 minutes. Thank you very much for giving us your thoughts. And again, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have any requests, things that you would like to talk about, or topics that you would like to talk about, or if you would like to share your own thoughts, please feel free. We have a Facebook link on the YouTube page. I think, yeah, I think we have the Facebook page for Elias Journeys. Just send me a message. I'll be more than happy to answer back or talk if you want to. If you need to, please feel free. And then if you have any suggestions, please feel free. If you have any violent reactions, please let me know. Feel free again. Um, if you have any ideas about how we can improve, then it's more than welcome. Feel free. So, again, I won't take too much more of your time. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Joey for Elias Journeys. Life is about making choices, and have a wonderful and safe rest of your evening. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.